We begin the 20th letter. This is a somewhat of a, I guess you call a famous letter. It was actually written a few days before the passing of the Alter Rebbe. And this letter speaks about very profound appreciation and understanding for the physical, and through the physical, hence, to do a mitzvah. Often the physical is looked at as a means to reaching spiritual heights. But this letter, as it will explain, a lengthy letter that will explain how the physical derives from the essence of God Himself, completely beyond any revelation of godliness, as there would be revelation of godliness in the spiritual worlds, that it comes from God Himself, not from levels of godliness. And as a result, in the physical, and doing the mitzvah in the physical, with the parameters of the physical limitations of the mitzvah, became something that gave great renewed vigor to the observance of mitzvahs. So this is going to be a spiritual journey, mystical understanding of the greatness of the physical and the mitzvahs that are done within the physical. This letter is called Ihu v'chayeu chad ihu v'garmeu chad. He, God, and His life-giving emanations, His light, are one. He, God, and His vessels are one. Everything in life has what we call a light in a vessel. When we speak about the divine attributes of God, the 10 spheros, the way they are in Atzilos, so both the light and the vessel are one with God. Now, one with God meaning not like, kind of joined together. Sort of like, you can say, I'm taking a pen and I'm writing, and what I write now is sort of like one on the paper, right? It's not separate from it, it's one. But that's not a true oneness, because you could erase it. So the divine attributes of God, as they are in the world of Atzilus, Spheros, they're both the light aspect and the vessel aspect are one with God. Again, everything in creation has body and soul, light and vessel. That's the concept over here. So that means that the divine attributes are divinity. But that's in the world of Atzilos, which is the world of emanation. In the world of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, the vessels are no longer divinity itself. They're already part of creation, the vessels of the divine attributes. And when we speak about the light, so light has basically 3 dimensions. They're called Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, just like the soul. 3 dimensions of the soul, although there's 5, but here we're speaking about the inner aspect as opposed to the encompassing aspect. So the inner aspect of light has three dimensions to it, just like the soul. Again, we say, right? The inner aspect. There's nefesh, ruach, and neshama. So the nefesh and ruach aspect of the light of the divine attributes are also part of creation. The neshama level, as it's in the world of Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya, is a divine aspect. Now, and what does it mean that it's divine? What does it mean that it's divine? It means it has the power of the divine. And what's the power of the divine? To create something from nothing. So vested in the divine attributes of God, which are Chachma, Bina, V'das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, Chesed, Kavod, Tiferes, and Netzach, Hod, Yisod, Malchus, kindness, severity, compassion, triumph, endurance, humility, acknowledgement, foundation, connection, and Malchus, sovereignty, right? Kingship. So in the world of Atzilus, both the light and the vessel of those aspects are divine. In the world of Bria, that's not the case. Right? Now, so they become now not divine. Now, you might ask a question, why does God need divine attributes to use as a manner to create the world? God is infinite. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't need anything. Doesn't need the divine attributes. So the divine attributes are expressions of limited form of divinity. Because wisdom is wisdom, understanding is understanding. They have their parameters, their limitations, their self-definition. By the fact that it has definition means limitation. So it's a power of limitation. So the truth is, if God were only limitless and not to be able to express himself in limitation, that itself is a limitation. So God is neither, and therefore expresses himself both in the infinite, without limitation, and in the finite with limitation. That finite of limitation is divine attributes. The 10. It's 10, it's not 11, it's not infinite. Now, when we're saying now that the Ein Sof is in the vessels in the world of Atzilus, that they have the power in them to create finite beings. So specifically, it's the vessel, as opposed to the light. The light has more of an expression of the infinite of God. The vessel is more the limiting power of God. Yet in the vessel is also the power of the Ein Sof, of the limitlessness of God, to create something out of nothing. Again, that power of something out of nothing is only that God can do. Human beings can't create something out of nothing. That's only a virtue that God has. We, and the rest of creation, are familiar with Ila va'olo, cause and effect. Right? Cause and effect, that's a power within creation. Right? You move, you drive your car at a certain speed, certain weight. God forbid you hit something, you're going to have an effect. If you're going very slow, well, it might be less of a damage as opposed to going very quickly. So the power of cause and effect, though, would not create a yesh, a something. Why wouldn't it create a something? Because where does creation come from? From no thing. So if you have no thing, the divine, and from there, cause and effect is like a link. This causes this. It links it. So you would have a chain that would be linked with one cause, one effect, one cause, one effect, down, down, down. So from the limitlessness of God, even the power of the vessels that are a power of limitation of God, you would not have, though, something that would be the opposite of the effect, or the cause, rather. That you can't have. The effect can only be limited to as great as the cause is. Again, if you're going quickly in the car, going slowly in the car, there will be a different effect based on that cause. So, to create this world from the infinite of God by means of the divine attributes, it has to be the power of something from nothing. Because think of it, if it was the power of the Ein Sof, the infinite light of God, so by way of metaphor, as much as you would have a come down of that power that would be vested, though, in the creation, it would be like the sun beating down and the rays of sun within the sun. You'd be completely nullified. Because the effect is a product of the cause. Well, if the cause is limitless, then we would be having a light of God that's limitless and would be shining upon us, and we would be completely nullified like a ray of sun within the sun. And this is why we call it Yesh Mi'ayin, something from nothing. What do you mean nothing? It's not nothing. Means it's nothing that we can apprehend, comprehend. It's beyond us. It's God, the Ein Sof, vested in one with the divine attributes as they are in Atzilus, that we have no bearing of that Ein Sof. We have no comprehension of it. We have no experience of it. That's why we call it nothing. In the end, it's the real something. It's the true thing. That's really what it is. But that's what we call it because we have no relation to it. By the way, that's why God uses the 10 divine attributes as the conduit to create something, a yesh, a thing, from nothing. He uses that conduit because through the conduit of the 10 divine attributes, now we can have an appreciation of God's investment in us and in creation. Of the Ein Sof, we don't have. Of the attributes, well, those attributes are a part of our soul. We also have 10 powers of the soul that are similar. They're, in the end, very different, but we call it with the same name. I have wisdom. I have, Chachma Bina V'das. I have all of that within my soul because I have a piece of God within me. That will give me a little understanding of the limiting power of God in the divine attributes. But that limiting power that's vested in it of the Ein Sof that gives it the quality to create something from nothing, that what's vested in it, the Ein Sof, is way beyond our comprehension. Not way beyond. It's not in the world of comprehension. Because comprehension, intelligence, is actually a created thing. It's a something. And God is no thing.